What's up with the YouTube? Let's get into this video by Poetic Flacco. It looks like he got more disturbing news on this David case. Let's see what he's talking about.
People are finally addressing the big elephant in the room when it comes to this David and Celeste murder investigation.
What's that?
And that's Celeste's parents, Celeste's family. See, Nancy Grace went scorched earth on Celeste's family earlier today. And then the private investigator, Steve Fisher, did an interview with Jadeon where he sort of revealed some sketchy things involving Celeste's family as well.
What are you saying, Dave Mack? What are you saying till we find out what the next step is going to be? The next step is an indictment. That's the next step. The long dead body of this little girl found in D4vd, David Anthony Burke's Tesla, found one day after she would have turned 15. She was just 13 years old in the 7th grade.
It's crazy.
When her family reported her missing.
He do need that death penalty.
She was with D4vd, and after that, they never said another word. Nothing. Where have they been all this time?
That is kind of weird though. This whole time, what this case been? I mean, we found out David did this like a year ago, something like that, more or less. But yeah, we haven't heard from the parents. I don't even know who her parents. I never even seen her parents. They could be grieving. People grieve in different ways. I know they're Hispanic, very religious, so they could just be, trying to keep to themselves.
Why are we the only ones banging the drum, demanding justice? Brian Fitzgibbons, this is very odd behavior on the parents' part. Never issuing a public plea, never thanking the LAPD for finding their girl, never demanding justice.
I mean, you want them to publicly thank the LAPD. You don't know what they did. You don't know who they talked to. You can't say they didn't thank the LAPD or talk to the LAPD for finding their daughter's body. How can you just say that though? You don't know what they did. They could have did it in person, talking to the cop. You can't just say that.
Laying on the front steps of the courthouse, screaming for justice. Nothing. Radio silent. And now an indictment is set to go down, and they're what?
Whoa,
where are they?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's incomprehensible, the fact that there hasn't been a large outcry from her family.
Fair point, but also unfair. Now, grief come in different ways. People grieve in different ways.
Yeah, y'all gotta chill.
I'm not at the stage yet where I have enough information to where I'm ready to go complete scorched earth on the family, but they did make some fair points. When Celeste's body was first discovered, the mom gave a statement to the police, and the mom says that she had a boyfriend named David. So that would show they was aware of the relationship with Celeste and David. Now, were they aware how old David was? Were they aware? The mom used the term boyfriend. I'm using the term victim. Celeste was David's victim, right? David was Celeste's perpetrator. So I don't consider this a relationship, right? She was groomed. But if the family knew David's age, and they knew that Celeste was involved in a relationship with David, lock all of them up. Lock them all up. We've seen this exact same play with
anybody that knew needs to get locked up.
Parents were bringing their underage kids to R. Kelly and allowing R. Kelly to be with them because they wanted to benefit financially from it. So if this is what went on, lock up all of them and arrest them all. But we don't know that yet. We don't know the full details yet. So we have to reserve our judgment. Now, Steve Fisher spoke on the family, and I'll be real, Steve Fisher said a lot without fully getting to where he wanted to go. So the first red flag that popped up in my head that really stuck out, Steve Fisher said initially LAPD was putting out statements like, we don't know if this is a murder or a homicide. This could have very well been just, a
murder or a homicide.
Inappropriately. Celeste could have died on her own, and then they just panicked and hide the body. We don't know yet. So the homeowner stepped in, right? The house that David was renting, they stepped in and they hired Steve Fisher, the private investigator. Steve Fisher, who was tasked with discovering whether or not Celeste was murdered or if she took her own life, contacted the family. And according to Steve Fisher, he contacted the family, but it was almost impossible to get in touch with them, right? And he felt like he was badgering them at some point, and he just stopped. I don't know any family who wouldn't be super receptive to any help they can get from a private investigator if the police is putting out
the private investigator wouldn't have him. He wouldn't have to be blowing me up. Once he called and said, "I'm here to help you about your daughter," we finna be on the phone morning, noon, and night every day. And so I need some answers. I couldn't sleep if I was in that situation. So it's I don't know, some valid points being made. They not like seeming too worried for me. I don't know. Or like the stuff they was doing is probably not public. I don't know.
She may not have been murdered. She may have, done it to herself. And then a private investigator saying, "Hey, I'm here to investigate whether or not she was murdered." I don't know any family that wouldn't be receptive to that help. But apparently Celeste's family wasn't too receptive.
Celeste's family never got in touch with you to find her before. The only reason why you got involved was because the owners of the house had cops coming through their house investigating stuff, and they just didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, no, I've never been in touch with her family. I've tried. I didn't want to push them hard though, so I haven't really followed up more. But yeah, so the owners were very. It's never had anything to do with value of the house or loss of value or anything. It's had to do with they wanted to understand what happened there because they have kids around that age, and they wanted to know if, on even a spiritual level, if they could go back in that house. It was really hard for them to fathom, if it happened there, or even
that's what I'm saying. People grieve differently.
Just the fact that it's tied to it, they have some real decisions to make, and they're from out of the country, and so they don't really understand the laws and everything. So they said, "Listen, we want to find out what happened." They wanted to know what the truth was, and they wanted to make sure that Celeste, got justice if she needed to get justice. Because remember, at that time too, they're telling us there might not be any crime here beyond concealment of a body, which was never true. I don't know why LAPD came out and said that, but they were making it sound like this might have been like an overdose or something, and they made a bad decision. There was nothing like that. There was never anything like that. This was a guy who's
in the trunk.
I don't know why it took this long to get where we're at. I'm glad
you just gotta call the police. Why would you?
And it doesn't seem like there was this real urge. It wasn't like maybe the
sense of urgency.
Yes, yeah.
These are questions, not accusations, until we know more information or until we know certain things are facts. But why wouldn't the family want to get involved or want to meet or want to be in touch with somebody who's trying to get their daughter justice? Especially if the police is at this point saying, we don't know if it's a murder investigation, and the private investigator is saying, I'm going to find out and prove it's a murder. Why wouldn't you want to get involved with the To me, it doesn't make no sense.
That's valid, though.
It's inconsistent with what we would expect from a grieving family, right? It doesn't make sense whatsoever. Now, the part that really tripped me out is, and this is more proof that this relationship with Celeste and David was not a secret, was somebody from Celeste's school or near the school or association with the school from their little community. When she first went missing, somebody contacted David's management and let them know, hey, there's rumors that your artist is involved with her being missing. Please return her back to her family.
But it was no secret that she was with him. In fact, somebody close to the situation, her family, the school where she was going, wrote his management by email and said, paraphrasing it, there's a rumor that David might be involved in the disappearance of 13-year-old, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. If that's true, please make sure she gets home quickly. And she got home. She arrived the next day. And that email was received by his management company, and they did send it to him. I have proof of that. He was aware of it. So then she arrives back home, but then she runs away again. He was grooming her. He's a predator. He's not the only girl he was involved with.
That's crazy. Yeah. Hey, Interscope is complicit in it. Because how do some anonymous person sends you an email saying that David's with an underage girl and she's missing from home, and you just send that to him, and the girl pops up back at the house? That nigga, if the girl would have popped up back at the house, if I was the label, for to ask him about it, send him that, the girl pop up back at the house, you're finna get dropped, and you're not getting no money. Finna finesse you. I'm the label.
When Celeste ran away on Valentine's Day, she showed up in the area. Oh, this is the exact same day that they're actually taking possession of the new house that they rented, my client's house.
Yes, sir.
Of course, my client doesn't. My client thinks it's Josh Marshall, his manager, but they take possession of it. So on that day, he's got Celeste runs away that day, and she's at the old house, the one where they did that live stream, delete everything, and he's got another minor at the new house, 1.5 miles away, and I've got pictures of that. So, that can be.
This is kind of all new about there being like a new minor. If you can reveal, how old was this other minor that David was dealing with?
She was 16 and 17.
She was 16.
This was going on for a while.
Celeste and David was not a secret. If somebody
The private investigator is spying on this dude and following him around and sees that he's messing with 2 minors. Like, at what point is it time to arrest him? So, like, yeah, I don't get it. At what point is it time to arrest this dude? Like, y'all let him get away with so much, and Celeste is gone now. You should have been got him. I don't get it.
who has some type of affiliation with Celeste school knew, don't you think the parents would know as well? And if the parents knew, why is there no reports of the parents talking to the police about David and Celeste? Why is there nothing that's coming out where, hey, brother, parents been reported David for being inappropriate with their daughter? Now, Steve Fisher would say that the parents were reporting Celeste as a missing kid to cover their tracks from his perspective because she was never really missing. They knew exactly where she was at, and she would come and go. Like, she would come for like family events and then leave and be with David and be on tour and be with him for months on end. So was she really missing if they knew where she was and she was coming back and forth? No, she wouldn't be a missing child. So why was she reported missing and they kept her as a missing child? According to Steve Fisher, he believes that that's because, that's to get CPS from off their tracks, to get the school from off their tracks, because if she's not reported missing, well, CPS in the school is asking, why is she not at school? Why is she not present? Why haven't we heard from her, right? And that would have started more issues.
To the timeline, so I didn't know this. So it was January 2025 when that live stream happened, or 2024?
Well, she'd been gone well over a year when this was going down. I believe that live stream was
I see.
January 2024. Then she starts. Then
he started messing with another minor after he did that to Celeste. Nigga crazy.
When and then there's runaways, and then getting into around Valentine's Day, she runs away again, and then it's a year. It's well over a year that she's gone before we now know that this happened, according to prosecutors, in April of 2025. So she's gone a very long time. And that's been the whole thing, is piecing this together. Where exactly was she? Because we didn't really have evidence that we had evidence that she had been to the house, but not that she was like living at the house. And David would travel a lot for concerts or whatever, and nobody would stay there. So we're like, where was she in all this time? And then we find out that she wasn't truly a runaway. That's the part that's upsetting to me too, is that her family knew where she was, and she'd shown up for like her cousin's high school graduation. She showed up at a family event. There's a video out there of her arguing with the next door neighbors in the apartment complex next to her house, all while she's supposedly a missing person. And so it's all very frustrating. There's a lot of things, a lot of failures around her. And I understand she's probably a handful. I get that.
Yeah, the family knew what was going on.
That's part of being a parent.
A lot more people knew what was going on.
She needed like a direction in life. And it's not okay. They knew who he was. And it's just, I don't care how rich
what
he
it
is.
I feel like they knew what was going on. They was quiet about it and thought they was going to let it be. So when Celeste was gone for that year, it wasn't nothing big to them until they found out what happened. So now they're just quiet.
I don't care how famous he's becoming. I don't care he's living in a mansion and he can afford to support her. It's not okay.
Make no mistake about it. If that's true, they should 100% be in the next cell next to David. we see this with R. Kelly, but just like R.
Really?
Kelly, the parents are never held accountable if this is true, right? With R. Kelly, R. Kelly got arrested. The women came out and they said, "Oh, my mom dropped me off to R. Kelly. My mom was the one who arranged this." The parents never got picked up.
My mom
right?
dropped me off to R. Kelly is crazy.
The parents are a crucial part of the investigation. In this situation, it's just hard for me to imagine that this little girl was missing for a year plus, and if she was with David for a year plus and the police never got involved, the police never went to David, and the mom knew her quote unquote boyfriend was David, and they never told the police, "Hey, she's at David, go ahead and get her." But as we've seen, she was going back and forth. We got the video of her arguing with her neighbors, and that was like months after she was reported missing. So Steve Fisher is telling the truth, and in regards to they seen her go back and forth.
What video is that? I ain't seen that video.
Missing. But if they intentionally reported her missing, so the police and the school system and CPS can get off of their tail for her not being at school and doing certain. Man, we got to start having some tougher conversations here, man.
Listen, I agree. The parents need to be held accountable.
I was just about to ask that because one thing about the parents is, usually they don't always have to say something, you know what I mean? The family has to grieve, but I feel like this is one of those cases where the only statement I know that's out there is that the mother just said that she had a boyfriend named David. That's the only statement from the family that I've ever heard that is verified from them. So my question was going to be do you think the family is as quiet as they are because they knew who David was and they knew who she was going to, and you don't really see too much of an intervention between them?
I mean, yes, I have proof that family members have been to that rental house before. I've been with David and Celeste.
Wait, her family has been to his house?
Family members. Listen, one of the first things I put down in this case was we know that David and Celeste were at Six Flags on a certain date, and we found a Build-A-Bear certificate from the Build-A-Bear place in Six Flags in her cousin's name at the house. And so it's wait a minute. So she wasn't really missing. You want to know, in my opinion, what the missing persons report was about? It was to cover their ass so CPS didn't come in and say, "Hey, she's not going to school. What's up?" If she's a missing person, you say she's not going to the school because she's a missing person. Then you don't have CPS in your life at that moment. And I guarantee, I know that
they tried to trick. They played a game within the system. That's crazy with their own daughter, though. Is her dad? She has her dad. That's sad, man. This little girl had no help. It was just left with a fucking evil monster.
Grieving. I know they lost a daughter, but goddamn, she shouldn't have been allowed to be. She was gone a year and a half, man. A year and a half. Somebody should have said, maybe we shouldn't be letting Celeste live her own life like this.
13 years old.
I don't care
that shit is
how
crazy.
much money he has, how famous he has. Maybe in some cultures they don't think that's that huge of an age gap. I don't care. That these are the laws that you've agreed to live under, and she's 14. She was not 15 like it says on her death certificate. She turned 15 the day before she was found in the Tesla. She'd been in that Tesla a long time. She was 13 and 14 years old when this was happening.
Grown family members are showing up to David's mansion where Celeste be at. They're well aware this grown man with a mansion is hanging out with a 13-year-old, and they think it's normal, and they're hanging out and they're not saying nothing. David is pulling up with his Tesla at Celeste's crib to pick her up, and they know this. Yo, fam, if a dude, first off, you don't even gotta know the age. If a dude who is driving a Tesla is pulling up to pick up your 13-year-old daughter, you know what you do? You call the police.
This nigga's pulling up in a fucking Tesla for your 13-year-old daughter. That is wild. I wish that would be the last time, man. Shit. I don't think her dad was. I don't know. Did she have her dad in her life?
This don't sound right. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. All right.
We think it's BS, Flacco. Hey, man. David needs the death penalty, and he needs it now. That's all he needs. We don't even need a case at this point. We don't need a court. We don't need to do none of that, man. I thank you guys for watching. Rest in peace to Celeste. And please like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. Thank you.